Most women that I have worked with in my practice have thought that they knew what they wanted, but they actually just knew what they did not want. So if they had an uncomfortable or unhappy marriage, they would tell me all of the things that they did not want, and a lot of it was just complaints about their partner. But if I asked them what they wanted, they would often feel like just what they wanted was the opposite of what their partner was doing. So for instance, if they had a partner that they felt was emotionally distant, they would say, well, I want a partner who cares about me. So then we would have discussions about, okay, well, what does that mean? What does caring look like? Does it mean just conversations? Because this is what you're saying that your partner is not doing with you. He's not having a conversation with you. And they would say, well, no, it also means that they would, open the door for me, or they would be loving or physical, and they would have a whole host of things. And really what it came down to is they just didn't know what they wanted. They would have these vague ideas, these different niceties that they would like in their life that they probably could get if they would just ask their husband or their partner. And the problem with this is a lot of the women did not want to ask. They would say, I don't want to have to ask him. And I get that. I get that we don't want to have to ask. We don't want it to feel like it's a favor or an obligation. We want the person to naturally just do all of these great and wonderful things and feel very cared about, like it's in the beginning honeymoon stage of a relationship. But the reality is that we do have to ask for what we want. Women especially have a very hard time with this. So if you are, now I'm bringing up relationship stuff right now, but really think about what you want in your life financially. Many times a woman will say that she wants, let's just say, a Prada or a Coach purse, okay? I'm giving you just two different random brands. Now, yeah, like if you dive into that, well, why is it that you want the Coach or the Prada purse or the whatever? It's usually coming down to that you want to feel like you've made it, like you've gone to some space that other people will look at you and know that you belong to the tribe. Maybe you belong to the tribe of the people that you work with or the other moms in your child's school or whatever. You want to belong. So a lot of what we want has to do with belonging to a tribe, to a community. You will notice, for instance, when I say we will tend to purchase cars or clothing that our neighbors have. And it's not just about keeping up with the Joneses, but you will notice in certain communities, people dress a certain way. If you go to the country, the status symbol might be a flannel shirt and a certain type of a car. Maybe it's a truck. If you go to another community, maybe it is designer clothing and you ride in a cab, not an Uber or whatever. So everyone has different kind of norms, and there's some mirror neurons that are happening where if enough people are doing one thing, then we're learning how to be in that community. Now, here's where your finances get really tricky. The most valuable skill that you could ever develop is just really knowing what you want. Not wanting what other people want, or not knowing what other people want, but knowing what you want. What is important to you? A lot of times women are taught to not be as individualistic. And so we might come to the conclusion that we want, for instance, undivided attention or love or care. And that might be really true. But what is it that we're really looking for? Now, I know this seems really vague because this is a money podcast and this is all about, getting more and getting what you want. Or maybe you're a workaholic and you just want less. Maybe you want to go minimalist and you want a little bit less in your life. You need to know why you want the things you want. Is it because you're hopping on a bandwagon that everyone else is doing? There's a tremendous skill in directing your thoughts and your energy to what you truly want. And so that can turn into action, and that action turns into affirmation when you begin to start to get, when you begin to get what you want, or when you start to see that it's coming together, it may not be perfect, okay? I'm not saying that you're going to just think thoughts and these things are going to magically happen, but as you are deliberately, intentionally directing your thoughts, you will begin to yield the results. And you can compare that with the results that just looking around you and everyone's getting XYZ kind of a purse or a haircut or, a certain color of their fence in their front yard. You need to really be an individual. So I think the most valuable skill that you could have is to be more individual also in your relationship. Not be afraid of deviating. Don't look at what other people have or what you think they have, but what you think, a lot of times people, the act that they put in front of other people is just that. It's an act. So you might see a couple that's holding hands and lovey-dovey, and you might be looking and going, he just loves her so much. But you know what? He might be doing that with 5 other people. You don't know. Honor what you have. I'm not saying to settle, but honor what you have, and don't be afraid to ask for what you want, whether it's in a relationship, in your job, if you want a raise, if you want more, or if you want less time at your career. Whatever it is that you truly want, know what you want, and then start putting your thought and intention into the actions that will get you to what you really deserve and desire. And it doesn't mean that you are settling or being pathetic by asking for what you want. No, instead, you are being empowered by asking for what you want. And you know what? When you ask for what you want in a relationship, it's sexy, it's empowering, and you're going to feel good about it. Even if you don't get what you want, you're still standing your ground. That's good. You should feel sexy about that. It's not about if he or she, whoever you're with, is feeling that you're being sexy. It's you. You should feel sensual and sexy by knowing what you want and asking for it. You might come to the conclusion that the other person isn't worth your time, and you might move on. Or you might decide that the job that you're in or the career that you're in isn't something that you want. And so this is how you know when you start standing your ground and getting intentional about what you want. So the most valuable skill that you can have is knowing what you want and then having the intention to create what you want. And the most damaging thing then is not asking for what you want. That's where you're settling. Okay, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. I want you to go over to Money Maven Club or themoneymavenclub.com, and I want you to sign up to my mailing list. I'm going to give you some free stuff. We're going to connect more. We're going to have tips every single week. I want you to really connect, and I want to know what you think about this particular podcast. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.